What is going on, my beautiful LARPers and LARPettes? Today we're going to go over the brand new Canik MC9LS. And compare it to the older Canik MC9, going over the differences between these two here and see which one's a better choice for you. But before I get into all that, what is my relationship with Canik? They have sent me out other Canik firearms in the past for review. They sent this MC9 out when it was first released, and now the Canik LS. And I do want to mention that they came out today, I believe, with this version and the L version. And I'll get into that a little bit later in the video on what the differences between this one and the L is. But first, with any Canik video, I always show off the box because I always think it's cool that for the price you're paying for these guns, they give you a buttload of stuff. So starting here, you get your cleaning rods, you get your little wrench here, your little screwdriver, sorry, and you get a toolkit. That toolkit is very cool just because it's in the shape of a Canik. 2 back straps, you get a holster. You can run this inside the waistband, and I'm pretty sure you can run it outside the waistband if you were to flip those clips around. And you have 2 17-round magazines in the box as well. So now let's get into the actual gun itself. Where did I put that? Starting at the front here, this is going to be the biggest difference between the LS and the MC9 original, is that you're getting a longer slide and barrel now. I believe the original one was about like, what, 3.2, and this one's around 3.6, so you're getting basically almost a ½ inch on here than you are compared to the MC9. Now what that's going to help is you get a longer sight radius, obviously, because it slides longer, but when it comes to recoil, this gun feels very, very nice in the hand and not as snappy as the original MC9. Just the extra weight added onto the front of that muzzle does help mitigate some of that recoil that you're getting, that muzzle flip, whatever you call it. I call it recoil in a way. It shoots smoother. But moving on back, you still get the same exact slide serrations. You get the same coating that's on the slide. You get the same optic cut, the same loaded chamber indicator. There's a lot of things that are basically identical between the Canik MC9 and MC9LS, as well as the L. Now, when you're looking at the next difference on this gun is going to be the grip. You can see that the MC9 here has this little chopped off grip where your pinky is going to kind of hang off if you have normal sized hands, and this one here you now have a full size grip. Now those of you that have been watching my YouTube channel know that I don't really care for the whole pinky extension thing, and when you're loading it pinches the crap out of my finger if I don't load it correctly or if I have too much of my meat hanging off of that grip. But that pinky extension, it's always been an issue for me, not just with Caniks, but with every other gun out there that has that. So I don't really care for that. But now with the new MC9LS, you have that full grip where I can do reloads super easy and won't have to worry about pinching the crap out of the meat of my palm right there. I have small fingers, but I have fat hands for some reason, but you can see with my full grip there, I don't have any issues with me pinching myself. Now the downside to that is those of you that want to have maximum concealability are going to have a little bit more extra added length onto that, but not by much if you're carrying the 15-round extended magazine on the MC9. So if you're looking at them here, you can see, hopefully I can get this lined up right where I'm not cheating it, but you can see that it just hangs off just a tad, and hopefully I can get you a better view of that, but you're not really going to print much more than you would on the original MC9 with the extended mag. Now if you're going to do a flush fit mag on this one, then yeah, you can definitely see the difference between the two. You have a good length there that is going to print if you are printing. But for me, a good holster and a good way that it fits to your body is going to be able to conceal this perfectly fine. I mean, people conceal gigantic guns with a Surefire X300 and all that crazy stuff on there, and they don't have any issues with printing. But this one, I do appreciate Canik going with the larger grip. Combining that slide and that larger grip does help me drive that gun a little bit tighter and a little bit more to mitigate some of that felt recoil. But aside from that, guys, that's pretty much it for the new MC9LS. You got a longer slide, longer barrel, and a longer frame. Now, the difference between the Canik MC9LS and the Canik MC9L is it's just essentially the MC9 slide with this frame on it. So if you don't want to add that extra barrel length but still have that same issue like I do where I don't like that pinky hanging off, you can get that MC9L and have that slide on this grip. And let me show you something really cool. This is essentially the MC9L. It still says MC9 on it, but all I did was swap the slide on my MC9 and put that onto the frame of the LS here. So this is essentially the same exact thing that you're gonna get with the L. So you have a larger grip, smaller slide. So I can get why people want to go this route too, because once you have it in your pants and you have it appendix carrying, right, and you bend over or you sit down, sometimes the longer barrel or longer flashlight will jab into your, you know, your manly parts there. So this is the MC9L. I think they're the same price online comparing the MC9LS and this one. I think they're like around 500 bucks. So it's basically your choice and what flavor you want. But the next thing I want to show you is something that I don't think they sell right now, but it's really cool. If you already have the MC9, right? So if you already purchased an MC9 and you're like, ah, man, I really wish I had a longer slide and this whole shindig here where you can have a bigger frame, now you could kind of have 4 guns in one in a way, because the MC9LS does fit onto the original Canik MC9 frame. This isn't my cup of tea, but might be a couple of yours cup of tea, or maybe a lot of yours cup of tea here, where you have a longer slide but a shorter frame. So I can see people carrying this because they want maximum concealability, where they can run a potential flush fit mag on here and have a longer sight radius and a little bit less recoil muzzle flip on that gun whenever you're shooting it. So this is really cool that I can kind of swap and adapt everything to each other. Everything else on these Caniks is identical. The slide release, the triggers, the mag release, down to the front of the frame here is exactly the same length as the MC9LS frame there. So it's only common sense that they're gonna fit on each other's frames. But yeah, guys, if you already bought the MC9, don't worry, because you can definitely swap parts around on the MC9LS or the MC9L. It wouldn't be as, I guess, worth it if you got the MC9L, because you're essentially getting the same exact slide. So if you did swap anything, literally the L will be the exact same gun, just without the L on the actual slide itself. So I think if I were you and I wanted to get the most out of the money, I would probably go with the LS, just so that way I can swap stuff around. Now, the thing that's not swappable is I cannot fit the 15 round magazines into the frame on the LS, just because it's not long enough to actuate that little notch there on the magazine release there. But overall, I think this is a very cool little gun. I already thought the MC9 was cool, but if you've seen my MC9 video, you already know that I always have an issue with those pinkies hanging off there. So I'm glad that they went this route. I don't really see myself switching anything from this to this one, because I do like the longer slide, longer sight radius, longer barrel, and the larger frame here. I don't really have an issue concealing something this long, because I used to carry a 19 and I'm pretty sure this is the same size as a 19 anyways, just a little bit thinner. Also on this MC9LS, I did shoot around 500 rounds, had 0 malfunctions out there. I was shooting 115 grain and 124 grain Super Vel ammunition. Huge shout out to Super Vel, supports the channel with the ammo, but 500 rounds, or I feel like I probably got 600 rounds out of this guy, but I wasn't really keeping that good of a track. But this one definitely has around 500 rounds through it. So the MC9LS, what do you guys think about it? Do you guys think this is necessary for Canik to make over the MC9? Do you think the L version is necessary just because you can now swap these two? Maybe not a lot of people are thinking about swapping their slides around, but you definitely can. And if you did want to pick one up, which one will you pick up? The LS, the L, or do you really not care and like the MC9 original here? Thank you guys so much for sticking around. I appreciate you all. Love you all. Catch you in the next one.